everyone, as the September vibes are running really high. Today we're gonna bring in light codes to uplift your consciousness, and thus my new book, The Eye of the Divine, arrived in big fashion. The Oracle deck is coming with it. And so these light codes have been created to truly uplift your consciousness, to show you the way. As many people get more and more lost, it is all about opening up your line to divine, your connectivity, your eternal gate, the red ray star, the red ray flag, opening that up into higher awareness, because this particular book, I'm so happy it arrived, is more like it's an initiation into next level consciousness. Even if you already reside in your eternal immortal vibrations, it opens up consciousness beyond consciousness and spaces out into many forgotten spaces into the universe, as the entire planet is opening its access position to a higher divine timeline. And that is what we are experiencing right now, that higher divine timeline, opening the eye beyond the crystallization process, is receiving codes beyond codes beyond codes, and incorporating these codes to the breathing system, opening up your special alignment, reason why you're on the planet, decoding who you are, why you came in here, and what you came to do actually. And thus that divine timeline has two offerings that are very, very crystal clear at this time. We have those residing on the line of divinity, moving into their eternal path, their immortal path, reclaiming their high-level, multi-expansive consciousness, and residing with the divine 24/7. Then we have those residing on that low frequency, that is a timeline no longer connected to the divine, that is a timeline of low consciousness, the timeline of the astral planes that that were pregnant with the betrayal, with the fear syndrome, with the diseases, with the malfunctioning in education, everything we've seen, we suffered from. And nowhere in the awakening, everybody is coming or uplifting themselves in self-empowerment. Self-empowerment is where these light codes come in, and you start to see crystal clear. The eyes transform from one level into another level, awakening and supporting actually quantum awareness. Going beyond awareness is going into the stillness of the self. That is more like a Buddha consciousness. And what is happening right now, that particular crystalline Christ consciousness is grounding on the planet. So the biggest changes from now on until the end of the year, starting October 1, will be in the white, purified levels of the divine that has grounded to the atrocities of the lower fields, and thus moving through everything that was betrayal, everything that was difficult, opening into the third, fourth, fifth, sixth eye, expanding perception beyond elimination, meaning we can set a halt, because that particular line that many people are looking for, are searching for, are fishing for, that is 0 point balance that can only be achieved with the alignment into the eternal self, the immortal self that aligns beyond the earth plane, low consciousness, and that aligns beyond the lower fields of the eternal immortal light body, or the light form that is brand new. At least that's what I educate. At least that is not to be found in books, that is not to be found on Google, and that is certainly not to be found on YouTube anywhere, because YouTube, any platform, promotes low consciousness that is dead and gone. It doesn't go anywhere. How can you know when you're on this side or the other side? If you don't suffer from fear, from lack, from anger, from diseases, from malfunctioning on any level, you're in the divine line. And you can get there in no time. So no more fear, okay? Get in your power, get in your strength, get in your light code, and so we can transform on an infinite way. That is at least the eye of the divine. That's what the book is about, because if we pick one card, I'm just picking one here, you know, what does it mean? That is exactly the card that is the return home, that is the great central sun, that opens with a character, that opens with a number, that opens with an invocation, that opens with a rewiring, that opens with new consciousness. And when you stick to just one light code, I mean, nothing ever bad, nothing ever negative, nothing of the old worlds can hit you any longer. So that is how easy it's being made. However, we're being required to move everything back into eternity. We are all eternal beings here on the planet with massive armies of light that are eternal, immortal, with all archangelic kingdoms, massive species, massive elements starting to communicate, to dialogue with you, if you can match that frequencies. And that is where these light codes truly step in. Frequencies, matching frequencies, and beyond that, if you don't have it and you pick a card and you open that book, you read about it, and you integrate the rewiring, the invocation, you get to know the ways that are in it. This is only one way. Another example here, we have a deep islet way, a purple way, that is a complete transition that goes to the mountains, and that has a special grid, because this time the big turnaround right now is starting the crystallization process, not only the pineal, the pituitary, the hypothalamic, the thalamus gland, the brainstem, and opening these glands, how they connect with the rest of your embodiment. So your heart frequency starts to align all the way back to all 12 tribes. The old 12 tribes open up with what we have known as the Knights of the First Order. They are very important because they are bringing back that huge self, big empowered way that was lost on the planet, that was cut out on purpose, of course, because self-empowerment, self-education, high intelligence, name it, I mean, it was cut off from everybody, and that are typically the Knights of the First Order, returning the red way sword, returning that red way self-empowerment, that red way action, where you manifest beyond what is called soul consciousness. If we look at manifestation, soul consciousness is very little or none at all. So realigning to all the codes within the Tree of Life. Tree of Life has 22 codes with the higher ways coming through, such as copper ray, the ivory ray, then we have the peach ray. These are ways actually nobody talks about, but these are the most important. They were cut out as well. We have 10 of these, and we have the initial creational ways. And when we open the creator self and you create and manifest on the spot, there cannot possibly be any lack. So I encourage everybody to really go into white lightning, the white crystallization process. So here, this book, as it's more than an initiation, it carries vibrational resonance into the omni beyond. The eye of the divine opening and starting to see your own codes that can match the light codes I have on these cards. There are so many. They are really beautiful. Each one of them is how I received it through my own divine eyes, and then started to design them. And they're all what I'm picking here, that is the entire new tree of life with all the colors explained. All these colors are being explained, and there's an invocation to all these colors. So we can't possibly go wrong, can we? So yeah, that is where we arrived at this particular point in time. And that is the time where your path, your spiritual awakening opens up your own divine designs, geometry, starting to understand how these codes come into their working modem, how they work with you, how they work with many divine sources and forces, and how you can open into the Omni Beyond, because that is really important. And so here, because creating them with your alignment, that can be short, that can be very small, each code, each written word, each geometrical pattern has a key for you as an individual to unlock memory. And so they are actually invitations to shed illusions, to dissolve your particular limitation and step into the authentic self. Because most of the time it takes a long time to discover who you are, what you came in to do, what you were encoded to do at this particular time in the universe. So it's very important to see beyond that and to truly rise with the divine, and allow the self to open up that path that is your transformation. Because initiating the self every day with a new open pathway means that you are on that divine line of frequencies that will not experience any trouble in life anymore, with a big axis shift opening up, because the earth is purifying its biology. So meaning, if you're in the lower frequencies, then you will have a difficult time. You will get nauseous at times. And when you lift your frequencies and you polish your diet, you polish your fitness, you polish wherever that is needed, then that book opens a pathway and assists you with a language of night. It assists you with numerology. It assists you with invocations. And even though you're on a high path at a time, you're looking for something to lift yourself out and just come into a memory, that is where it steps in. So today, I'm definitely gonna pull some cards out here and to demonstrate how it works, so you have a better idea of its working mechanics, and also how you can lift yourself actually in your own database. We all have data, we have memories, we have connections. These are all databases, and we have things we wanted to do, we never achieved to, getting in there. And so all of that is very important. So here, as we arrive into that journey with light coding, because in the incoming months it's going to be very, very important not to talk about even the grand transition all the way into 32. So the beat of 32, 33, 22, 33, it's going to be massive. So we only have these few 7 years left until the entire transition moves on. But from now until the end of the year, that is where the entire old system or the betrayal is going to be squeezed. And so if you don't have these frequencies, don't tap into it, then you will find a lot of healing, a lot of joy, a lot of alignment just by connecting to the divine and allowing yourself to truly move beyond any lower frequency that was ever been presented actually, because it's very, very important. And so if you recognize that crystallization within the crystallization of the bones, the entire glandular system needs to transcend beyond the DNA, because most people just talk about DNA activation into the higher levels. There's no higher level. I mean, we have those 24 strands DNA, but you can easily maybe think a little bit deeper, that the DNA carries elements, even these, these 24 strands. These elements were embedded with the elements you were born upon the earth with your birth chart. And when we elevate the self into higher frequencies and we equalize with the eternal self on plane 8, that is the eternal plane, that is that red star, that is where the Knights of the First Order come together. There is with the light code, where you start to see light coding, and that is also opening up in, if you keep yourself to the supreme light, eternal crystalline grids, the grapevine grid merging in, you'll be very, very safe. And so with the incoming transition starting off October 1, we will see that actually the lower frequencies of the betrayal, the control system and everything is questioning how to kick that new level of purified energies flooding to the earth, to kick that out. It cannot be kicked out, because everything they will send out from now on will be kicked back into them. So there's no reaching anyone in divine alignment in the eternal light sides unless you carry the frequencies of the betrayal, of the control, of the fear syndrome, of the disease, and don't do anything about it. Because also the rule is always the same. Frequency matches frequency, right? If you are in fear, that is where they can hit you. If you are in low consciousness, that is where it hits. So two divine lines are playing out. And if you allow yourself to move into that divine higher frequency, then you can allow yourself also to move up the ladder and work with the elements air, especially the ethers, opening up the breath up there. So that's all explained in the book, how to uplift your breathing systems and how to rewire the self with each code. So that makes it all the way more interesting. And thus that means that the eyes, I'm starting to see, like at times it's even more crystal clear than the earth is, if we just look through the physical eyes, and that is where it becomes fun, and then deciphering it. So here today, from mid-September till mid-October, we'll pull a few cards here and see where that gets, because it's a complete turn around, especially happening for those who want to see and those who want to remain blind. And that is, it's very black and white now, because we all got the chance to get ourselves out of it and reconnect to the divine at every angle possible, because it is so easy these days when opening in the new light form, that is the celestial omni body, and from there on just move on. So I pick 3 cards, okay? Let's just pick them. Yupa. They are so colorful, but let's see what comes out. Okay. 2, just 1 more to go, and then let's see what they have to say. So let's see. Wow, that couldn't be more accurate, truly. So I have card number 53. There are 55 in the entire deck. So I have the 22 ways of creation. I have explained them as well in the spheres of light, in the tree of life, and how you work with a sphere of light and the entire expand your circumference in your philosopher's stone, the new philosophy. And then I've added like 8 extra cards, extra code, all gathering into the divine of the eye of the divine, pardon me. So that is really, couldn't get better. What have I been talking about? That is the gold cone. The gold cone is received when working and refining the pineal gland with all its activations. It's understanding the foundational methods, the foundational light substance in the brain, which is crucial, which is truly crucial for opening up the higher levels. And so this state of consciousness, that is the cone that can be set in the pineal gland that starts to pulse, and it has fluidity of lines linking in with different levels of meridians. And so this state truly requires some peace, tranquility, serenity to transcend the physical limitation, because the pineal activation is truly a beautiful process that opens up into the third eye, enhancing intuition, vision, healing at many levels. So it actually serves as a bridge of light. I have seen this particular code crystal clear, and reason why I do not deviate from what I receive. The divine asked me to give the exactitude to people. So here you see these 2 points also linking in with crystal grids. So you have to visualize that actually in a crystalline grids where there are many cones linking in here. And this will flow if you put that in and you breathe in and you start to pulse, to pulse, to pulse, to pulse, because it's all about pulsation, new vortexes opening up. It opens up a new guidance, and all of a sudden new guidance can start talking to you. When they start talking, they open up higher knowledge. They give you knowledge that's not to be found on books or on the internet, and certainly not AI. So here a star code offers new hope, because you would be surprised, you come out very surprised with the information that comes through it. And when you're connected to the spiritual body, that is a purple body, the purple body opening up with a cup of divinity that is silver and gold, and then the connection gets into light consciousness, then that golden cone opens up a new focus. And so here, that is one of the most ancient symbols I've seen, like years ago. I couldn't decipher it, because that golden symbol, a cone, expands, and that is like a disc of light that actually incorporates all colors of creation, like on the tree of life. And so it renders into new perception, and that blending in with the new science grounding on the planet. And then it opens up, then the next couldn't be more accurate. So here, as I said, it's card 53. It's the number 8. Number 8 is important. If you just circulate an 8 through the body and claim your space in plane 8, you'll be very safe with the incoming changes, and just pull yourself into crystalline consciousness. That'd be great. And then the next card I have, gee, this is so fabulous. I have the number 9 with the expansion of that code. Look at that. Look at that. I'll explain that in a minute. But it's so damn accurate with the number 9. Number 9 is where the broken veins of female and gentleman female energy were broken on purpose as well. And now, they are coming together. Happens in plane night. That is everything that was dual consciousness flutters, blow that out. And so you open that equality, that is Lady Gent equality, that is Alpha Omega, that is being one with the one. Everything out of 1 2 1 2 or 0 1 if you want, or AB, we open that triangular equation. And I'll explain in a minute, but I wanted to see the last card. This is really fabulous. This is card number 7. So we have number 7, it's 52. So we have 52, 53, 54. That is 7, 8, and 9. That couldn't be better, because it defines the entire transition from September, the entire month, into October. And I will definitely pull, that is 52, the number 7, that is copper, the copper wiring, the copper connectivity. I'll explain this in a minute. Let's get back here to the expansion. So we had 7, 8, 9. This is so great. I love it. We had that cone. I expand in this one. You see the red vibe in the background here? That is very important. So here we see, we move from one into the next one, if you can see this. So it represents guidance, aspiration, higher knowledge. So the 3-star shaped cone emerged clearly with a pulsation of that singular pulse. And then it opened up through the meridians, interlinking and representing flow lines and connecting to star systems, with the moon symbolizing energy, flow, timelessness, and connectivity to the cosmic forces, which are very, very important. So these spirals we can see are flowing lines, and that opens up. Actually, you see, if that opens, you connect to star systems, and thus here these cones link in with the fluidity of these lines that expand. This is a very, very natural process I'm talking about, and a very important process, but I love these colors. And so that is when the first cone opened, it links to the pineal gland in the middle of the brain, but it also links up with the pituitary gland, and the pituitary gland needs to open with the amygdala. So we have pituitary, amygdala, and then that links in with the pineal gland, creates a triangle, the movement out of dual consciousness, because the amygdala carries the eternal spiral, your eternal essence that sooner or later will start to open the eternal flame. So it's the master glands that this is addressing. These 3 are connecting to star systems, and you can invite which one. They are connecting like a triangular equation with the pituitary, pineal, amygdala gland. And it goes all the way further into eternity, because it is connected to arc energy. Once I got those cones positioned, and I started to see that arc energy as one part of the bigger moon, like a sphere, like the moon, like the entire symbol is actually on the back of each card. I mean, it's no coincidence, right? So one arc is part of a circular fashion. This is the entire home, central home, Shambhala, the great central sun, whatever you name it. And thus that arc frequency can be seen either way as a crescent moon, or can be seen as a bridge of light. Your bridge into higher consciousness, where you start to see your light codes, where you start to enjoy your own information, because we can all start to channel, not from soul consciousness, but from spiritual consciousness. That is the movement out of soul and into full-time spirit that I offer with my book, The Eye of the Divine Light Coding. So I'm so happy it came out. It's so, I work with it. And so here, Arc consciousness resonate with the moon vibration in numerous facets actually, because the pineal gland transcends the decalcification, and that is termed chemistry, golden chemistry. So here that is closely tied to many, many cycles, but also the crescent moon holds profound spiritual significance, as we can see in an Islamic iconographics and symbols of illumination. We can see that in Buddhist traditions as well. We can see it as balancing the physical with the spiritual realms. We can see that symbolizing prosperity, personal growth. Prosperity is gonna come true, because if you reside in divine consciousness, connected to the eternal gate 8, the 8-pointed star, and working with the wet ray solemnly, then you will activate that higher level of manifestation, because soul consciousness just doesn't manifest. It just, it happens, but on a very low degree. So here, this code rapidly navigates all the way beyond duality, blending heaven and earth with these spirals, opening up into higher consciousness, elevating awareness, and inviting new levels of thinking, new levels of consciousness to be embedded. Because if we breathe that through, we become that code. We imagine that arc around us. We imagine these codes through the pineal gland, and then we invite that double pulse, and you breathe and you sit in meditation and you command whatever is bothering you, what it's not okay in your body, your energy field, or your life, and you invite higher ways. Just breathe it through, focus, and just lock in what comes through. It's definitely, it's fun. I mean, it's fun because even if I do that, and I cannot remember all the information I got on all the codes, it's all in here. And that is so beautiful, because it is just explaining that this code rapidly activates with revealing new insight. New insight means it can direct you in something you would normally or usually not even think about. And so it is the opening with the higher ways, including the copper and the invisible way. We got the copper here. So here you can access many, many new possibilities, especially when applied in meditation, when applied in visualization. The information I'm giving you is all in the book, You don't have to remember it, and you can definitely order them on my website. For the United States, it's also available on Amazon. And so it's a very transformative code for transformation, activating intentions, just as healing, creativity, bridging into other worlds, I would say, because if you want to understand that the earth is moving, or definitely out of the betrayal factor, we need to get used to it. We need to get used to trusting each other again. We need to get used to trusting people beyond the lower fields or the murderous zones. And so bridging worlds is crucial. And with these codes, you definitely start to think on a higher level, which is a necessity, because cones and rods are also to be found in the physical eyes. And so they start turning on higher frequencies, higher level of vision, altering perception and opening up new possibilities. So cones are also present in the pineal gland. I didn't know that. I did know that was in the eye. But they come in at times of big change, which is happening now, White Christ light and the entire grapevine is grounding in the lowest and lowest vibration we can ever witness. It goes to the trafficking of children. It goes to the abuse of animals. It goes to any malfunctioning where exhaustion and disease exist, where you're being manipulated. And so if you don't allow that anymore, it will not surmount anymore. It's a matter of keeping your divine line direct, your immortal line, your eternal line, knowing how to get there, or at least educate yourself in some foundational light form. I offer these as well, but here the conical forms and suspended wings and symmetrical axis in this light code actually sculpture and evoke the ancient gateways that are now on the planet, because it's an energetic vortex. You can breathe them in. For me personally, when activating that particular, where is it, that cone that I seen triplicating immediately, I seen that arc opening a bridge into the beyond. I mean, from the inner brain all the way, it's like miles I could see. And that's fun. And that's fun. Because many people still believe the repetitive things, how it is on the other side, mostly from people, let's say, that have some have had some near-death experience. And so people forget that becoming eternal and not doing our work here and polishing everything before we go into the other side, merge the other side, it means you get to progress on the other side in the same vibration that you leave the planet. And there is no, no highway that is going to cut that off. So why not do it now and remain on the planet? Because it's like an exodus process that is going on right now, where many people will leave, or many people will not allow themselves to handle the high level frequencies and light codes coming through. So that also is a bigger choice. And then we have the entire rewire going on. So here in the book as well, I mean, I have like many pages about one code, and so I'm not gonna read about them all because it's gonna get too much. But I'm definitely going to open up, that is code number 52, how that resonates with everything going on. So that is the number 7. The number 7 is also a lightning bolt. Lightning bolts are very, very important. And that is where we arrive in higher frequencies, and we start to understand how to work with these frequencies actually, because working with these codes, like here, that is called the copper microphone. The copper microphone emerges from many layered circular structures, such as we have seen with these codes. I'm gonna look that up here, 52. I'm gonna show you. So here in the book, the codes are presented in black and white. So you have the copper microphone, and then I explain that, how to rewrite yourself in that conal expression actually. So and then you can read, you can have the invocations, you can have many numerology, the explanation of the numerology. Then you have, for example, here, that is an invisible sphere. How do we get into the invocation, the alignment, the rewire? And I have the avenues. The avenues in my book mean, I explain to many pages as well, what does it mean to really work with that particular color. There's hardly anyone on the planet who ever been able to explain one color, let alone over 50 pages or something. So I'm not doing that. Of course, some colors take 6-7 pages, yes. But I'm just saying here that every color is continuously upgrading and manifesting. And that is the greatness of working with a light code, working with the self on higher frequencies as well. And so that is where the book steps in with the providence of higher guidance. And that is where you will feel that everything can change if you allow yourself to change that, and you allow yourself to move in a state of immunity, which is very important. So that particular code here is the copper ray aspect is central to its meaning because it always has been a metal that conducts, that reconducts, that is very, very strong, not only to realign your physical electricity, but it's all about higher transmission, higher perception, and coding higher levels of consciousness. So here, the layered circular body of the microphone suggests that the messages it carries do not actually come from a single point, but many interwoven cycles of creation. And we always move into a new cycle. And so that is a code that is going to move very fast. If we align that to the body, we breathe it in, we imagine it. We imagine the vortex, and you need to feel the vortex to the breathing system. And so it's rather about listening to the hidden orders of these frequencies, because this is a very high levels. It opens the ears, of course, to a exceptional high conductivity. So this is part of the higher ways. So the physical property is mirrored actually on an energetic level, and so it carries signals, insight, and information between many dimensional shifts. So if I'm talking about the eternal plane, the 8 number, the number 8, working with that, even if you haven't or cannot align yourself up to that, and you're not there with your consciousness, you can always invite it. That's what the copper moves very fast, but it really needs to be integrated on these higher personal directions with your source, your inner guidance, your spark self, and then they will bring through very, very fast messages, not only to the ears, but also to your channel and the eye. So the eye, ears, and channel work again in a triangular equation. And so it is between the communication between spiritual and the universal body that opens up these higher etherical fields, which will be a necessity for the incoming changes here starting in October. And so this light code goes together with the copper sphere that I explain in the book, with another copper light configuration, and they all go together. So there's loads and loads of information here with the higher hearing and how to get that, to get in or bring that higher information to the surface. So we first start to hear with the spiritual body, then we open up the crystallization, then we open up the side. The side goes with that higher hearing. So all these cards, they move in tandem. And so this will allow for a higher transformation to take place. It depends on where you are at. What are you willing to put in here? I'm just saying, like 3 codes. I mean, you could work for an entire month with just, 3 codes. It is fun also just to pull one card And when you just pull one card, that is also very important, to pull them through. And so here, to finalize it, let's just have one extra card here, and to finalize what is gonna come through. So it's all about opening the eyes, the ears, your channel, remaining in crystalline light, remaining on the divine line, remaining on the eternal spiral, remaining in the eternal gate, claiming your red dragon vibe, opening that red vibe for manifestation, deleting everything that was low consciousness or transported with this code. Become one of these codes and just allow yourself to, oh, that was, you know, there is no accident. I mean, I'm just shuffling, and this is where pineal, pituitary, and the amygdala comes together. So that is also an arc of energy that moves all the way up into eternal frequencies. If you put that particular sacred geometrical code all over the body, you're protected like a million miles. But you need to do it. You need to breathe it through for a few minutes, become it, remember it, imagine it. Imagination is most important. And so look at what I have here. One card, that is the aquamarine frequency. That is card number 21. Let's look that up in the book. Okay. The aquamarine jet stream. How beautiful. But as I said in the book, so it's black and white. And so I'll show you, like here, the aquamarine jet stream. That is so important. That is because the water in the body is going to be cleared on a massive level. Water in the body is the emotional body. The entire earth is emotional, needs to go into higher senses, delete the emotions, and that is where the aquamarine jet streams come in. It's a beautiful card. I mean, I'm showing you, we have the aquamarine avenues, how it works with sacred languages. Then we have 2 pages of explanation what the aquamarine way is about. The aquamarine rewire. So it's the avenues will prove to the higher levels of enlightenment. That is the quality of pure living water, working to purify, to rejuvenate, to open up the gland, the skin that is a larger gland in the body. And so, of course, if you work in the eternal vibration with the eye, the ears quite open on the copper frequencies, and then you massage yourself out of the muddy waters into crystalline waters, that starts off with the invisible way, and you open that with aquamarine jet streams. The aquamarine way opens from one avenue into the next. Let me explain. On a lower level, when you're transforming from one light body into the next light body, or you have some sort of meditational practice at least, and then you wire yourself into the omni-body avenues, where we all come from, the bigger omni-vision, where you're part of everything we can see in the cosmos, and we work our way into becoming or changing the glandular structure, the DNA, into a glandular construction that pertains to light particles and light body. And that is where we are hitting at. And so the aquamarine, it's a lot. I mean, it's 6 pages. I've been reading about it here. It has an invocation. It has the information. It has the numerology. I'm reading through it. So it moves you to the higher planes of existence, and definitely opens up your space from a form in soul consciousness, moves you into spiritual consciousness, moves you into higher omniversal consciousness, because it has exceptional qualities, and it works with the aquamarine gemstones. And these gemstones need to come from a country. It needs to work with the particular code. That is the grounding, because it has a numerology of 21. 21 makes up 2 and 1 makes up 3. It's your grounding. 3 is also the movement out of 2, duality, right? So it's so accurate how these cards come together. And so water makes up more than 88% of consciousness in the body, and when we remove that old flow, we become very, very serene. It also moves with the eye of the divine awakening, with the true blue rays. And so you can look up the blue rays, what it does. And so your life with the eye of the divine, and merging that with the light codes and becoming these light codes, can become very passionate, because you would be surprised what comes out of them. It is, as I said, this book is not just to be read. It's an initiation from coding the self out of the old worlds and into your authentic, eternal, immortal self. And that is what you can do with it, because it's about, let's say, it supports hydration, the aquamarine. Let's read a bit. And oxygenation on both physical and energetic level, exactly what we need, because you detox the water in the body and the energy field. So here the Omni system will then merge with the planet, which is happening now as well with the transition on October 1, and on and on and on. Of course, we will never go back. We're out of the old, we're out of the betrayal. Just, you need to have that in your awareness. And so it's all about becoming the eternal omniflower of light, if is what I'm reading here. So that has many water petals connected to many groupings and to many clusters, aquamarine clusters grouping. Think about the flower of life, think about a lotus flower. And so we blend in with higher harmonics, higher octavations. And so the aquamarine way is very important for the ecology. How do we change the waters of the rivers, the lakes, the oceans? And that all is in that information here, because if you transform it within, you can just go into a river, expand your energy field, and infuse the river with your frequency, which is what I'm doing actually. And that is high level ideals, because if you replenish yourself with the aquamarine ray, it says it often formats into crystalline spirals. So it activates again the eye, the ears, and your channel on with the toroidal wings that are on this particular code. And so jet streams function as both a filter and a transmission. So it clears the emotional residue from the energetic waters before it moves into new speeches with all species, and that will communicate what actions you need to take to feel a very fast energetic current throughout the entire body, because you will feel a pulse and pulse and pulse. It takes quite some work, but it's so interesting. At least I'm very interested in that, because the aquamarine is the origin of Lady Gent, perfect frequencies. So that has been nested on the planet where it was broken. And so the broken origins always go back to that area in the United States, that is Mount Shasta. And so that is reset in Utah, in Zion National Park. So it's a lot of information, because you can just reconnect with all of creation through the aquamarine higher ways. And so I can see that after 25 years of working, doing the work with the light codes, and now with that new book, The Eye of the Divine, there's a lot of information on my website. Just have a look at it if you're interested, and you will see that the entire tree of life is coming alive. Needs to be that way. It's a number. The number 24 comes down to 6, 6, 9, eternal spiral. So the divine line is on the number 9. The tree of life is on the number 6. 6969, up and down, spiraling and spiraling. Spiraling means the new tree of life has grounded on the planet right now. There's no mistake. There's no mistake. The divine doesn't operate on mistake. It operates on higher sensitivity. It operates for people who are ready to go there. And so I hope that this explanation awakens a little bit how everything is coming around, is requesting everybody to step on the divine line, on the divine light side, and because the divine timeline has 2 frequencies, and it's up to us to choose where you will go. And this is also this deck is great also for people. If you know people, you want to educate people, you want to give them meditations, and you want to educate them on the new tree of life. Each time I just pull it, I come back to this. So you see, it's also the copper wiring is very important, working with copper, gold, the red way and the right way. So I encourage everybody as well to work with the eternal spiral is on here as well. And again, the red way being very, very potent and very important. Otherwise, it wouldn't pop up. It's like you're in divine alignment or you're not. The in-betweens are gone. Okay, and it's easy, and you can do it, and everybody can do it. And yeah, I just hope you keep your eternal line with the divine just straight and does not allow any low frequency in your precious vibe any longer. Thank you for being with me. I hope this information was of some value to you, and I will definitely pull in new cards in the incoming months. Thank you for being with me. I'm Charlotte Chi. Thank you for spreading the word and getting to code the self into the new frequencies opening now. Thank you.